Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Chicken and the Fat Lady, where facts are currency and common sense is a commodity. I'm the fat lady, and he's the chicken.
Welcome, welcome. This is a to balance the scales, a sort of episode against the right. I mean, there's no balancing the scales against them for
Yeah, there is
sure,
no
but
both sides do the same bullshit. Yeah.
yeah, there's it's 100% false equivalency, but and it's not in a ploy to be impartial, uh,
Absolutely not.
but there are many things that the Democratic Party is just absolutely screwing up. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. The big thing to kind of piggyback off of our Mitch and Graham uh, talk the other day is I was watching Jon Stewart, and he was talking about how Graham marks like the sixth person this term who's died of all, in the after 70, basically in office, and like something like 20 to 30%
By
around
their
there.
cold, dead hands, they will
Right.
not leave the Congress. Yes.
20 to 30%, something like that, are 65 and above, well, and more above, like well past retirement
80.
age.
Yes.
you know 80, like if you just average out the oldest section of our Congress, I think they average at about Graham's age, maybe a year or two older, which is, I mean, we talked about how much we, love Bernie, but I mean, Bernie's up there too. He's not, I
Yes.
mean, at least he's the good thing is at least he's paved the way for people like AOC and Ilhan Omar and all those women who have been down with him ever since they've gotten into office and have been kind of the new wave, which is something that most like Nancy Pelosi isn't bringing up a mentee, to come take her place. I mean, you got no one who's taking out like the false Democrats. Like, aren't both Cinema and Manchin still in office as well?
No, no, they're gone.
Oh,
Kristen Sinema, she was never going to get reelected in
oh
Arizona when
yeah,
she did the curtsy and the cutesy when she was doing the
exactly.
voting. And Manchin knew his time was up. But Manchin was part of. He's even prior to Cinema because
Yeah,
he's always been that conservative Democrat, BS.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So
well, good. At least
yeah,
because, now that I think about it, I haven't heard their names in a while, so that's
yeah,
probably why, because they've been gone. But they
yeah.
were also instrumental into just tearing down what the Democratic Party, I mean, should be. I mean, both Republicans and Democrats are right of the
Corporatists.
center line.
Yes.
Democrats are just like just right, and Republicans are the farthest right you could possibly go. But I mean, they equal out in a way that a bunch of the Democrats are corporate Democrats. They're just as bad as the Republicans. They're taking APAC money. I mean, we talked the other day, I think just recently, Cory Booker stopped taking APAC money, but he'd been taking it, you know, forever
For
now. And
years.
it's
Yeah.
like, you know, not to say that he didn't have any good ideas, but I mean, you're in the pocket of someone else. Your good ideas and your goodwill kind of gets thrown out the window if someone's writing the checks and, basically putting their hand in your ass and making you a puppet.
Well, Cory Booker was very impressive initially because he walked the walk and talked the talk as the mayor of
Yes.
Newark.
Yeah.
He lived where he lived. He had, he had his little 5 gallon bag of shower water a day that he was taking a shower, and he lived amongst the people in Newark.
Yeah.
He absolutely walked the walk and talked the talk. However, he was big business then. He's
Yep.
big business now.
Yep.
And that is the problem with the problem and the fallacy of the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party, yes, they do care about black and brown people, but only as far as it will serve them. So let's just be
Right.
honest about that because the majority of the money that they get still come from corporations.
Yeah.
This is the first big election where the tech bros had their mass exodus from the Democrats and went towards the Republicans because they could control them better. They would have more say. I mean, Peter Thiel and Pull on My Tusk, they can just call Donald Trump whenever they want to. No citizen in the
Right.
world is free, and in the country is free to do that, but the billionaires somehow are. And again, just because they're billionaires, don't let me go to the 3-4 girl again. Doesn't mean that they're the most intelligent people on the planet. It just means that some of them were born on third base and others have manipulated to get into the places that they are. You
Right.
don't see many Mark Cubans out there.
Yeah.
There's not a whole plethora of them.
Look,
Um,
I don't even want to hear anything from Mark Cuban because
yeah,
he's flip-flopped back and
yeah,
forth,
yeah. He
and
is.
he's technically on the left side-ish
Yeah,
now, but like, you all of you Shark Tank people, I forget that other woman's name, the old, blonde lady that looks like
a
she's the
Barbara
crypt keeper.
Corcoran
Yeah. Talking
who
about how
has
she
the
loves
Corcoran
firing
Empire,
people and
right?
this shit and that. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. You grew up in a time where, a house cost a nickel and you could send your kid off to college if you wanted to, but he didn't have to. He could just talk to Uncle
Right,
John down the street and have a job, and he's set now because he's been able to take some shares out of the company for the past 40
right.
years or some shit like that. It's and the normal, like the mainstream Democratic Party has allowed that to happen, as much as the Republicans have forced all that to happen in the society, in the situation that we live with now. And now they are the those corporate Democrats are on the back foot the same way the Republicans are fearing the midterms, right? Because they're hating on people like Zoran Mamdani, who's a socialist Democrat who's getting shit done. I mean, in his first 100 days, he cleared out the $12 million debt like it was nothing. People said it couldn't be done. He was like, whatever. And he's one of the people too. Like he said to me the other night, he's sitting in the nosebleeds of sporting events. He rides the fucking subway as a normal dude. I mean, come on now, like that's who you expect, right? As an elected official, especially after Eric Adams, who was just, you know, a back the blue black guy. He
Yeah,
was
but
just,
Eric
hey,
was all about trying to line his pockets and
yeah,
trying to, do whatever and thought that he could take Turkish Airlines to the Caribbean for crying
yeah,
out loud. So
yeah,
he was all about self. But this really comes down to that the Democrats are wet noodles. When they are in power, they codify nothing.
yep,
And this goes back to, for me, this goes back to when the Tea Party was taking over the Republican Party.
yep,
The blue dog Democrats, Barack Obama literally had the House and the Senate from January of his first year till January of his next year because all of the blue dog
yes,
Democrats, they were voted out because they didn't align with him because they wanted to capitulate to the other side. Hi, Miss McCaskill. You too, Claire. So Claire was also one of those, more
yep,
moderate, because for some reason the Democrats always have to be moderate because that's who they are. They are Republican light. And this misnomer that we can only have two parties in this country, you know who always says that? The Democrats always say that because they know that their vote is going to be split. Their vote is going to be split because you guys are not delivering anything any more than the Republicans are.
right,
On face value, you make it seem like, yes, you care about the migrants, but you only care about the migrants to use them. And you have used the migrants so much so that you have forgotten about the people who were born here and who don't have jobs here, who don't make a living wage. And no one blames a migrant for coming here and trying to get a better job, but
yeah,
$7 an hour ain't feeding anybody's family.
yeah. And as you say, all the time, specifically, they forgot about the poor whites, which is like the one real thing that the Republicans have consistently. Like Democrats usually have black people, Republicans usually have the poor whites on their side, the
But
poor
that's
uneducated.
but that's based off of hate. It's not based off
Yeah.
of what they've been able to
Oh,
provide for
for
them. It's
sure.
based off the
Yeah.
feeling that they get.
Yeah,
because now, they see in Donald Trump, he can say all of the things that they want to say because it's easier to hate someone and not have anything more because at
right,
least then I can channel my hate towards you and not towards the people that I really need to channel my hate towards. And that's the business owners that have sold out poor white and black and brown people to
yeah,
migrants who come in who don't have legal paperwork so that they can pay them under the table and they don't have to pay them a living wage. And this
right.
is this is again down to this is not because blacks and whites will not do the jobs. It's because we expect to be paid as Americans for
And a
our
livable
wages,
wage, not
a
just paid,
livable
a
wage.
livable wage.
We
You
have
know,
to be able to put food on the table. And
it's
that's
it's
that's where
go ahead.
they've both failed. Both parties have failed this.
It's the whole thing that I say about like anything. Like, I always talk about like, hey, why jack up, you know, rent as high? Nobody's moving in there. Now I know it's, through this loophole and that loophole, they still make money, even though rent's high and this, that, and the third and whatnot. But if you keep your rent a little low and you have a consistent tenant, then you got a consistent stream of income. If you if you take care of your workers and you don't have a high turnover rate and you pay them, and if they're able to get health care and shit like that, they can continue to work and you'll continue to have a business. So, that's why no one with common sense and a frontal cortex feels bad for the farmers here. You
No,
know,
no.
like
And
you
I don't,
you've employed Jesus. Sorry to be a little racist, just to pull out a name, but like you've employed Jesus for like 50 cents an hour, and he's gonna take it just cause, right? Just because he's got a
because he's
family to
looking for a
feed and
better
doing well.
opportunity for his
Yeah,
family.
yeah, exactly. And that's,
Right.
I mean, that's amicable. That's admirable. Of course. I've got no hate to it is not that it's the whole thing where it's like they want you to hate the person at the bottom of the rung rather than the one who is in
No,
the
I
yacht.
hate the person that hired him.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing that I've never understood about immigration again, because we never go after the business owners hiring these people. We
Yeah.
go after the people that are trying to do whatever it is that they can do to make it better for their families. So, but I do want to get back, you know, on topic because we're straying here and we're
Yeah, yeah.
supposed to be slamming the Democrats. Um, my thing with them is they continue to listen to these same old corporatists who have advised them in the wrong ways for decades. James
Mhm.
Carville, look, I got to get my
Yeah.
James Carville. He ain't been right since anybody since Bill Clinton. Okay, when he stood up there and just talk about the Democratic Socialists, they need to find their own party. No, James, the people determine where the party goes.
Yeah.
And people want socialism. They want health care. They want their kids to be able to have lunch at school. They want enough money in the bank so that they know when there's an oopsie that it's not going to affect their mortgage because people can't save any money right now. And no one is helping them to do that. Donald Trump signed some bullshit legislature in that the credit card companies should reduce interest rates by 10% on people. You know what happened? The credit card companies instead raised the rates 10%.
Yep.
My credit card bill is paid off every month, but they don't like that. And they raised my rates 10%. Why? Because they can't make the money off of me that they want to make off of me.
Yeah. I mean, you
I'm just
guys
trying to
told
get
me.
ahead. I'm just trying to get ahead. I'm trying to
Yeah.
get it out in front of this student loan that we have that's still six figures. I'm just trying to get ahead.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here whining for a handout. Yes, what I would love for someone to pay off that student loan. But you know what? I also realize that we're veterans. They don't give a shit about us. No one is going
I
to pay off
mean,
that student loan for us.
Biden could have done it like that.
Yes, because
Biden could
Donald
have
Trump has
done it
been
like
able to
that.
do whatever he wants to do, and there is absolutely zero pushback. He can have a ballroom, he can do this, he can do that. But Joe Biden couldn't give people $10,000 worth of student loan debt relief.
Or
We don't even
completely
know
like
how
knock
much
it out.
money. Mm, it's
You know,
maddening. It's maddening.
it is because it's the fallacy of the Democrats to try to like and it is just like kind of a filibuster dog and pony show, right? It's all for show, trying to come in to be moderate, like you say, to come in the middle and find some common ground with the other side when there isn't. And so, uh, as more and more of the generation grows up, they see and they're like, what is really the hate? What is the connotation, the hateful connotation for the word socialist, right? They're like, one, we already have socialist programs, Social Security,
Military. Hello.
military. I mean,
Military.
we have socialist programs.
Schools.
All emergency services are socialized,
EMS. Yep.
right? Um, so what's the dirty word? Is it just because people don't know the definition? Mostly, yes. People are illiterate and do not know the dictionary definition and what a socialist society is in practice, right? Because they just
And they like
equated,
to use the interchangeableness of a communism and a socialism to scare everyone, right?
or Marxists, I
Right.
was going to say too, right? Just these words that at one point or another may have happened to be associated or still associated with some countries, like China's the Communist Party. And they
Right.
go, people look at China and they go, I don't like China, which means I don't like communism.
Right.
But those things don't equate. You have to see the forest for the trees, the big picture of like capitalism is evil, but no one's looking at America. I mean, they are now, but no one's looking at America and going, America's evil, because of capitalism, right? The same isn't happening on the other end. You see what I'm saying? Like people
Yeah.
are hating China because they're communists and they're going, I hate communists. They're not the
Right.
same for America. So it's like when you get um Zoran Mamdani's and you get and I love how all of these socialist Democrats have like Middle Eastern names. You got Zoran Mamdani, what is it? Something Syed, what's his name?
Oh,
Mohammed.
yes. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Abdul El Sayed
Yep,
and
Abdullah
yes,
Syed.
who is cleaning Haley Stevens' clock in Michigan.
Hmm.
Malak Quiros. She
Yep,
won in the first district here in Colorado over Diana DeGette.
yep.
And what her name was, Dora Lisa, was one of the winners in New York. I can't remember the other female's name in New York. And then there was that what was his name, Mark Lander, or I think the Jewish man
Hmm.
who actually knows that what's happening in Palestine is a genocide.
Right.
So I think that it's time for the Democratic Party to wake up because we don't want to hear you anymore, James Carville.
Yeah.
And the only reason I will vote for a Democrat is if they take on the social issues, because I am a social voter. I'm not, I don't align myself with the party because I am a social voter. No, those are the things that matter to me because for me, human rights are not up for grab.
Not up
It's
for
not up for
discussion.
me. There's no discussion. It's not
Right.
a trans person has just as many rights as a female who was born. They have the same rights that I do. If they're a trans woman, they have the same rights that I do. That doesn't
Period.
take
Yeah.
away the rights that I need.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's make that clear. That doesn't take away the rights that I need because my biological female rights are different than your needs. But there is room in the medical space for all of us.
I mean,
And
yours and daddy's marriage didn't stop other white people from marrying other white people.
no,
So
no,
how are two gay dudes, two lesbians, how's
right.
a trans couple taking away your sanctity of marriage? The only
It's
way you're
not.
taking your sanctity of marriage away is, because you touch little kids or something like that.
Well,
But neither
because
here nor there.
you're trying to equate something of love and you're trying to turn it into something of hate.
Right.
And that's the thing because they only see what they identify as the perversion of something,
Yeah.
um, and not, what actual things are. Recently I saw a story and it was so cute and I don't remember if it's in Belgium or it's somewhere over there, but there is an entire swath of gay ram. I had no
Yeah.
idea. And these ram they get slaughtered because they won't produce because they don't want to sleep with the female ram. Well, this gay gentleman has taken all of the gay ram, taken them into his farm, and he shears them and cuts their wool and sells their wool and does all that stuff.
Right.
This is in nature, people. It's in nature. The people have been gay since we've been on the planet.
People have
Animals
been
have been
gay
gay since
and
they've been on the planet. Okay,
trans since, I mean, we talked
forever.
long ago about Indians, and they have the term two spirit, you know,
Right,
certain tribes
right,
have that term
right.
to identify. And it's people don't remember, a couple decades ago, Democrats were right in lockstep with Republicans, thinking that the gays and anyone who was another version of the other wasn't right. Joe Biden had a thing that he talked about when he was a senator, I believe, right back every long ago. And then when he was talking about when he was interviewed as a president, he goes, "I remember my dad pointing two gay dudes out, and he goes, 'That's love, Joey. That's love. Don't let anyone ever destroy love.'" And I'm like, "But you, a couple decades ago, so how did you not learn the lesson and relearn the lesson?" 80 years later, I don't forget. So yeah, they need to get on this bandwagon, or they're going to get left behind. And because,
Absolutely.
and that's why I'm kind of I'm very hyped for the uh not just midterms, but for the next presidential election. Because like, if you tell me like AOC and Jasmine Crockett are on the ticket, oh boy, that'll get me out
Yeah,
there.
but Jazzy, Jazzy, Jazzy,
Has
Jazzy,
she done
Jazzy.
something? Is
I
she
think
not?
she's a taker of APAC.